highly beloved of the Lord, women, instruments of change indeed, we welcome you all to the Healing Streams Reflection. The title for today's post is Women as well as Mothers. Equip yourself for the Lord's work. This reminds me of Matthew chapter 25, verse 1 to 13, in which Matthew wrote, "Then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. Now 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight a cry was heard, 'Behold, the bridegroom is coming, go out to meet him.' Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, 'Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out.' But the wise answered, saying, 'No, lest there should not be enough for us and you, but go rather to those who sell and buy for yourselves.' And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding, and the door was shut. Afterward, the other virgins came also, saying, 'Lord, Lord, open to us.' But he answered and said, 'Assuredly, I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming.'" Indeed, we are very grateful to mothers for the good Lord inspiring mothers of faith to have such compassion and courage in their faith journey through Christ and in the Spirit of the living God. Beloved, as we celebrate Mother's Day, the day of flowers of love and faith, we are being called to consider the fact that God has equipped such mothers for his work. And we see this in Matthew 25, verse 1 to 13. It is clear then that mothers or women are real gifts, and on their children a gift also from God. That is where and what the book of life, which is the Bible, tells us. And so in this season of celebrating Mother's Day, most often what comes to mind is the words of Mary of the Annunciation. When the angel Gabriel told her she is with a child, she responded, "I am the servant of the Lord. Be done unto me according to thy word." Mothers have been living this way. And that is why they have hope of being biblical women. And indeed, their poetry and love of our lives. Mother's priority must be living according to the way God has ordained. They can't claim to be following God while they are fighting among themselves, not taking care of their family, husbands, children. Because mothers or women are the love of family lives. And love can be in many glorified or brilliant things. Families, especially husband, children, feel a lovely sweet from the care of mothers, because love is the ambassador of loss. Love that pulls Christ. They need to see everywhere. Certainly one day, when these mothers die, or at the coming of the Lord, still these mothers who impart their lives will still look for, even if you permit me to say, caring and loving people in the nurseries of heaven, because love is a many glorified thing, not earth. Love. But even love takes care of the hurting and the needy. And as somebody said, a preacher man said, what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. And so in this weekend Mother's Day celebration, Matthew 25, 1-13 is reminding us of the Christ parable by introducing us to 10 virgins. In verse 1, the Bible says, then the kingdom of heaven shall be likened to 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. In this parable of the 10 virgins, for some reason, many people think that these virgins are the bride. But Matthew 24, 45-50 have no mention of a bride, but rather 10 virgins. Maybe they could be called bridesmaids. They were part of the bride's wedding party, but they were not the bride. So we cannot associate these virgins with the bride of Christ, the church. So who are these virgins? We know from Jewish culture that at the wedding celebration for the whole town, one of the acts of entertainment was to have 10 virgins perform a wedding dance around the bride and groom. They will hold lamps or torches and perform a touch dance. It will symbolize the light of their love and the bright future they had together. They will dance for the entertainment of the guests and wedding party, dancing virgins until their torches burn out. So these 10 virgins were part of the wedding celebration after the wedding ceremony and wedding supper. This is who the parable is about. Each member of the parable represents someone or something in real life, indicating that attitude could solve problems cheerfully. So who do these virgins represent? The bridegroom is Christ. Secondly, we know that there is a bride, though the bride is not actually mentioned in this parable. Every bridegroom must have a bride. And just as the bridegroom was always a picture of Christ, the bride is always a picture of the church. The bride represents the church, and the church is made up of Jews or Gentiles who have believed in Jesus Christ for eternal life from Pentecost until the rapture. At the rapture, the church, the bride of Christ, is caught up to meet the Lord in the air. That is why the law of focus and obedience should be important in controlling mother's success and fruitfulness. In heaven, the first event will be the judgment seat of Christ, where Christ determined which members of his bride were ready for the coming and which were not. After the judgment seat of Christ, there is the wedding ceremony, and then the wedding supper. These events take place in heaven between Christ and the church. Then we have the citywide celebration. The bride and the groom go back out to the city and invite the people to join them in celebrating their wedding. There's food and dancing and entertainment. This is when the touch dance happens with the virgins. Beloved, and that is why our mother's assignment was always take them where they are not celebrated instead of tolerated. And so in Matthew chapter 25, verse 2 to 5, we see the story of the wise and foolish virgins. In verse 2, we read that of these virgins, some are wise and some are foolish. And he says, now 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. Wisdom is the ability to discern difference in people, moments, situation, and to anticipate a consequence or a reward. And so in the 3rd to 4th verse of Matthew chapter 25, we see the revelation why some are wise and some are foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. You see, the difference between the wise and the foolish virgins is that the wise had enough oil for their lamps, the foolish did not. This is the difference between the two. The touches they carried were long sticks. One end was wrapped with rags and stripes of cloth which had been soaked in oil, and the touch like the ones these virgins carried is said to burn for a maximum of 15 minutes. But to make the touch burn longer, they will repeatedly soak the stripes of cloth in the oil. They will carry with them a lot of vial, a vessel, or a pitcher of oil, and every so often, as the flame began to diminish, they will pour oil onto the rags in order to keep their flames lit. Here we learn that 5 of these virgins forgot to bring any extra oil. They had their torches, but forgot their vessels filled with oil. That is why this parable is so outstanding or probably not worthy. These foolish virgins truly are foolish for forgetting something as simple and essential as spare oil. Beloved, every problem is simply a wisdom problem. Wisdom, therefore, is knowing the divine reaction to a human problem. The oil represents something very significant that no Christian should be without. Your assignment requires planning, and you are the only one God has anointed for your specific assignment. In this weekend's celebration, I pray that may the women or mothers on this Mother's Day with enough oil in their lamp be light to hurting families during this challenging time, so that the needy will receive the needed extra spiritual strength to cope with the challenges ahead and enough strength to persevere. Mothers, you can only be promoted by the person you serve, and the quality of your servanthood decides the timing of your promotion. And that is why in this Mother's Day, as we celebrate, we are celebrating their servanthood towards all of us. Now Matthew 25:5 says, but while the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. It's very clear, they all slumbered and slept. As believers in this church age, we are to constantly be on the alert, awake, and watchful, for we do not know when Christ will come for his bride. Matthew 25:5 very clearly says that the Lord delayed his coming. Instead, these virgins are living during a time where the Lord's coming truly is delayed. Therefore, mothers, your assignment will require seasons of preparation and waiting. Yes, you are mothers. And to the virgins who are yet to get married, just as all of these 10 virgins are spiritually pure, I pray that you remain pure till the day that God will open the windows of heaven for you to get married. All of them are living in faithful obedience to Jesus Christ. And I pray that young adults who one day will become mothers, may the good Lord give you the spirit of obedience. But they are also staying their time until the Lord calls for them to get to work. They know that the Lord's work must be done in the Lord's way, and especially in the Lord's timing. If they were to go out early and begin the work He had called them to do, they will just be wasting their energy and will accomplish nothing. And so they slumber and rest. They bid or stay their time. There is no foolishness in this slumbering and sleeping. For the wise virgin do it too. This is what the touchdown virgins did in Jewish cultures also. They knew that when the groom came for his bride, the time for the dance was near, but they knew that if they were going to dance all night long until their oil burned out, they must be caught up on their sleep. So it was a good thing to sleep and slumber and prepare for when they are called. In this Mother's Day, I pray that Mother's assignment, which requires seasons of isolation and total focus, will be their portion, and that the good Lord will empower them with His grace. Happy Mother's Day, and may God richly bless you. Bye.